As Cion fully raises the shutters, sunlight floods into the snack bar, casting an intense glow over the space. Standing in the warm light, Cion announces the single aim of their crew: bad kids. His face brightens with a confident smile, his crew members standing behind him with a hardened look, united as Cion utters a single word with finality: Null. Their goal is unmistakable: to bring down that man. Dimitri chuckles at the Bad Kids acronym, pleased that Barefoot claims the first position in it. His amusement turns to curiosity as Gopnik exclaims in surprise, asking Dimitri if he truly intends to join the crew. Dimitri places a reassuring hand on Gopnik's shoulder, admitting his fondness for the crew's name. Lowering his voice, he notes the one strange factor: Cion himself. Dimitri's gaze shifts to Cion, who stands motionless in the sunlight, hands tucked in his hoodie pocket, lost in thought. Reflecting on the past month since the incident, Dimitri realizes just how much Cion has changed. He turns to Rachel, her expression obscured by the long fringe over her eyes as she leans on a table, arms folded. Dimitri asks her what happened to bring about such a shift in Cion. Rachel's gaze remains fixed on Cion, her face unreadable but shadowed by a quiet sadness. A month earlier, right after the incident, Rachel stands by a hospital bed, dressed in jeans and a white crop top layered under an unbuttoned shirt. A voice over the phone inquiries about Cion's condition, who lies unconscious in the bed, hooked up to an IV. Rachel responds, noting Cion's recovery, remarking that he likely overexerted himself. Relieved, Vincent, on the other end of the line, reassures her that retrieving Cion will be manageable. Behind Vincent, children from Dead Mansion clean and organize the room. One child, arms full of books, approaches Vincent, asking where to place them. Recognizing one of the books, Vincent requests that particular one, directing the rest to the VIP room bookshelf. As he glances at the book, Rachel asks about the current state of things at Dead Mansion. Vincent explains that they returned immediately after Sophia's warning, though the director had already vanished. Hearing this, Rachel mutters a curse under her breath, but Vincent interjects with more news. Nearby, an open bookcase lies half-filled, with books scattered around it as Dead Mansion children sort them. Vincent mentions that Null has taken the ledger containing the names of the good children. Rachel's face darkens with fury as she realizes the implications, whispering that if Null has taken the ledger. Vincent confirms her fear, stating that the worst-case scenario the director had anticipated has indeed come to pass. Null intends to personally retrieve all the good children who were sold. A blood-streaked katana lies against the tatami mats, with scattered autumn leaves drifting across the room in the muted afternoon light. Null stands over a man's lifeless body, his gaze shifting to a child in a delicate pink kimono who kneels nearby. She glances at Null with trepidation. With a calm yet deceptive smile and crimson glint in his eyes, Null assures the girl of his intentions, suggesting she has nothing to fear from him. His hand extends toward her, an invitation to join him under the guise of rescue. The room is deathly silent, the air thick with an unsettling calm, revealing the floor littered with the bodies of men Null has dispatched. Only Null and the child remain untouched amidst the aftermath, the sinister promise of his words hanging in the quiet. On the phone with Rachel, Vincent explains that they are currently verifying the locations and personal information of the buyers listed in a secondary ledger. However, he confesses, his worry evident, that they simply lack the personnel to handle everything. As Sasha and Vincent's guards study a large book, Vincent informs Rachel that he's borrowing additional manpower from Barefoot to cover the shortfall, suspecting that this scarcity may be yet another aspect of Null's strategy. Concern tightens Rachel's expression as she notes that even if they eliminated the buyers, control of the good children wouldn't automatically shift to Null. Vincent replies that ordinarily she'd be correct, but Mari had assured him this wasn't the case. Rachel recalls her tense exchange with Mari, the moment when Mari defiantly threw a cross to the ground, claiming they had discovered a way to bypass the three principles. Rachel considers the possibility that Null may indeed have found a method to break those foundational rules. Memories of conversations with the director come back to her, She recalls his anxious manner, nervously biting his finger while arguing over the phone, his worry clear about children who disregarded Dead Mansion's principles. Rachel glances at the unconscious Cion, reminding Vincent that this was why they had checked Cion's adherence to the 3 principles when they went to find him. Vincent confirms, noting that it was especially critical for Cion. With concern creasing his brow, Vincent wonders aloud if Cion has yet realized the situation. Rachel assures him that for now, he remains unaware. Watching over Cion, Rachel listens as Vincent adds that he believes Null's side may attempt to contact Cion first. To prevent any chance of a meeting between Null and Cion, he insists, Dead Mansion must retrieve Cion as soon as possible. Cion lies unconscious in the hospital bed, his face twitching in discomfort as painful memories resurface. Meanwhile, at Dead Mansion headquarters, a storm rages under a bleak, cloud-filled sky, rain pouring down relentlessly. A woman in an expensive suit stands with rigid pride, sheltered by an umbrella held by her guard. Her shrill commands pierce the storm as she yells at someone in the car behind her to come forward. She repeats herself more sharply as the director approaches calmly, questioning her purpose here at such a late hour. The woman confirms with the director if this is indeed the right place, her tone full of impatience. The director, slightly perplexed, asks for clarification, but she offers none as she drags a small, blonde-haired child out of the car, shouting that she wants this child raised here. Wearing only shorts and a short-sleeved shirt, the child stands exposed to the downpour, soaked and visibly downcast. The director explains that Dead Mansion is a place for orphans, and he cannot take in a child whose mother stands before him. Ignoring his words, the woman screams furiously, throwing the child, young Cion, to the ground, indifferent as he lands face first in a puddle. Cion gets up, expression blank, his sadness profound as he stares at the ground, showing no resistance against his mother's cruelty. She yells she has no concern for his fate, whether they raise or sell him, indifferent to his future. Abruptly, Cion awakens in the hospital, bolting upright, shaken from the nightmare that has haunted him. Cion's eyes dart around the room, recognizing the sterile walls of a hospital, confusion flooding him as he wonders why he's there. Fragments of memory flash through his mind, his tense encounters with Mari and Jang-Yun. His expression twists in frustration as he recalls Jang-Yun's chilling, shadowed face, empty eyes fixed on him with a voice over the phone commanding Jang-Yun to find Cion's parent and kill her. Anger surging, Cion rips the IV from his arm and without a second thought rushes out into the street, still in hospital gowns, shouting for Hyunho's mother. He reaches the apartment building where Hyunho lives and anxiously presses the elevator button, only to realize it's broken. Cursing his bad luck, he begins the painful climb up the stairs, his injuries making him struggle for breath. When he arrives at Hyunho's floor, he notices a katana lodged into the elevator door, its elegant golden guard patterned intricately. Cion stares at the weapon, wondering who could have left it there, unaware that behind him, Null reclines casually on the stairs. With a glint of mirth, Null greets him, sitting up slowly and propping his head on his hand as he says he's been waiting. Surprised, Cion turns, no recognition in his gaze, and asks who Null is. Null, taken aback, stands, his curiosity piqued. He reaches for Cion's hands with a smoothness that catches Cion off guard, revealing a crossed-out tattoo on his own hand as he notes with a sad humor that it's troubling Cion has forgotten him. Null says he's missed Cion, that he's come a long way just to see him. Cion's thoughts race, his shock clear as he realizes Null's movement was nearly instantaneous, leaving him no time to react, while Null asks once again how Cion could forget him so completely. Null's gaze sharpens, a glint in his eye showing he's certain he gave the order to Jang-Yun clearly, to go and kill that woman. Cion, driven by fury, throws a left hook at Null, but Null dodges with ease. Cion shouts, accusing Null of being the voice on the phone with Jang-Yun, to which Null laughs, openly confirming it. Cion launches a kick, only for Null to block it effortlessly, his face calm as he stops each of Cion's attempts. Null remarks mockingly that Cion has a problem, pretending to be a good child while selecting people to act as parents. As Null shoves Cion back, Cion stumbles, struggling to regain his footing. Null pulls something from his pocket, continuing to taunt that Cion is going around handpicking parental figures. Confusion and anger cloud Sion's face as he demands to know what Null means by choosing parents. Null moves to his katana, sighing as he notes that, as expected, Cion remembers nothing. Pulling the blade from the elevator door, Null turns to Cion, remarking that he's forgotten what kind of person he once was. Sion's gaze shifts to the katana, worry flickering in his eyes. In an instant, Null strikes with a quick slash, which Cion narrowly dodges by leaning backward. Disappointment colors Null's calm tone as he observes that Cion was never truly like the others. Bringing the katana down inches from Sion's face, Null's expression darkens with sudden menace, the blade embedded in the floor beside Sion's head. Cion, stunned and fixated on Null's words, wonders aloud, shock filling his voice. Was he truly never a good child? Sion's thoughts drift to the painful memory of being thrown into a puddle as his mother abandoned him in the rain on the steps of Dead Mansion. He recalls the director's attempt to intervene, telling his mother that the orphanage must be misunderstood. As the director tries to reason with her, Cion interrupts, questioning whether he'd done something wrong. His voice is calm yet cold as he remarks that, although his mother had been loud and irritating, her fussing would finally end. Kneeling in the rain with a faint smirk, he admits he feels sorry for the dog he liked, the one that always wagged its tail at him. Turning to the director, Cion notes that the dog won't be able to bark anymore and asks if he did a good job. The director, expressionless, wraps an arm around him as Sion's mother stumbles backward, clearly rattled. Reluctantly, the director agrees, assuring her that he'll take care of Cion from now on. A spark of hope rises in Sion's eyes, longing for a place to finally belong. Walking alongside the director, he comments that he'd tried to be a good child who listened to his mother. As they pass, Cion, still dirtied from the rain, catches the eye of a boy behind him, hands clasped in silent prayer. The boy with long white hair tied in a ponytail opens his red eyes, casting a dark look at Cion. In the present, Null leans over him, katana in hand, marveling at the paradox. Cion was never taught obedience to parents the way Dead Mansion children were. So why was he pretending to be a good child? Cion, stunned, stammers as he realizes he may not be a good child after all. Null laughs, confirming this, his tone dripping with sadism, and warns that if Cion insists on choosing parents and acting like a good child, he'll continue taking those parents from Cion again and again until he gives up. Null's expression is unmistakably cruel, relishing Sion's anguish as reality sinks in. Cion stares at his reflection in Null's blade, recalling his mother's fearful eyes when she left him at Dead Mansion. Steeling himself, he grips the katana tightly, careful not to cut himself further, and drives his elbow into the blade, shattering it into fragments. The tip hurtles toward Null's eye, but Null dodges with flawless timing, laughing in dark delight at Sion's fury. Blood drips from Sion's hand, cut by the blade's edge, as Null seizes his arm and meets his gaze, telling him he could never be a good child. Sion's face darkens with a murderous calm, his eyes filled with lethal intent, fully prepared to confront Null as he embraces the part of himself he's long suppressed.